I'm so excited to talk all things wellness with you. I feel like meeting you in person, you're just like the epitome of wellness. Do you hear that a lot?
I do at times. I'm excited because I've never been able just to sit down and talk saunas and cold plunges, like my favorite thing in the world, for an hour straight. So this is really an honor. So thank you for having me. And someone who obviously is like very into wellness and contrast therapy, I feel like it's going to be a really engaging conversation. So I'm stoked.
I'm so excited. I mean, I can definitely say this. I feel like when I am passionate about something, it's like it's life-changing. It really is though. Like when you find those things and those therapies and modalities to add to your routine that just change you, like the only way I can describe contrast therapy is it's life-changing. Like, I mean, from the second I got my infrared Sunhome sauna, I have the 3-person Equinox one and it's incredible. That just like, it ups the ante of all those vibrations in your life. And I mean, I get it. Like I live in New York. We don't have a ton of room for saunas, but having the accessibility to even go into one regularly, it's enhanced everything in my life. And like, don't even get me started with the cold plunge that I hated, by the way.
That's the point, right? It's as Joe Rogan calls it, conquering your inner bitch.
Ooh.
Right? And it's like you're going in, you're doing the thing, and you get out and you feel like you just won a small mental battle of the day. And Seneca, he's like a Stoic philosopher. My favorite quote from him is, you treat the mind rigorously so it is not disobedient to the mind. And I feel like there's so many benefits of the cold plunge. But for me, it's getting into something, knowing it's going to be unpleasant, uncomfortable, cold for 3 minutes or so, and doing it anyways, right? Basically, cultivating the ability to do hard things. And I feel like if you can do that, you're golden. So I feel like that's the big thing for me too.
I mean, that exactly the way you just described that, because I had tried and like experimented getting into cold plunges for, I mean, it's been a couple years now. First of all, I was not about it. I also am the type of personality, I feel like when something gets really hot and trends hard, I'm super skeptical. I'm just like,
Of
nah.
course.
And there's just so many.
Like premium sunning. Like, haven't done it yet.
Haven't done it.
I don't know if I will, like when that catches on.
Haven't done it. Can you see what that is?
I don't know.
Go ahead.
It's Mark Hyman and there's a few other biohackers that popularize it. But basically, you take your legs and you do one of these and you point
balls
at the
to the sun, guys.
Yeah, pretty much. Balls and bum to the sun.
I know a lot of people that do it.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, actually, hold on. Sorry, Noah. I didn't.
You haven't seen it, right? You just heard the stories.
No, there's just like a few people I follow online that are not shy about sharing it. Sherveen, shout out. He's like always like suns out, balls out.
There you go. That's the motto. There was this biohacking cruise on Virgin a few weeks ago. You know, on every cruise, they have like every hour activities to do. And one of them, first thing in the morning, was get your natural morning sunlight. And then everyone had their own little station on the cruise where they did the premium suns. And there was like a video like blurred out of like 50 people doing it.
I am definitely like, I believe in it. I feel like I'm so afraid. I'm always afraid that like someone could be watching.
And you have kids running around. You don't want to traumatize them. Look out the window like, Mom, what are you doing?
Right. And like, you know, public on social. We want to keep it kind of on the down low.
Yeah, for sure.
Could you imagine?
Yeah. But I feel like for you, especially having so much going on in your life and with kids, like, would you consider the sauna almost like your escape and your sanctuary? Like I've seen the videos where you're in there stretching. You just seem so relaxed and in the moment. It just seems like for a mom, like it's like the best way to get some inner peace, inner time.
It is like without a doubt my favorite way to have downtime. Like, and truly like the contrast. So just to say, I have to say about a cold plunge because I think it's really important. So I disliked it. Actually, I hated it. I hated it. And I was just like, no, I hate being cold. it's makes me miserable. I'm not into it. And then Jason Strauss, who has been into this for years, has a sauna, an infrared sauna and a cold plunge at his house in Venice. And I was like, okay, like, let me try it. Of course, it was the coldest one I had ever been in. I think it was like 34 or 36 degrees.
That's hardcore for your
That's
first time.
That's hardcore for your first time.
That's not easing into it.
No. And like, he helped me with breath work, but I couldn't believe how hard it was. And it was such a shock to my system where like, I couldn't catch my breath. And I lasted, I think it was like 10 to 15 seconds. It's also discouraging because you see people online, on social, just like so calmly. And like, I can do it now. So I understand that it's a buildup, right?
Yeah, you're training your body and your mind for it, right?
You train for me, it was like mental training. But there was just something about it that made me realize, after telling myself I hated it, I couldn't do it. I swear to you, I'd get in, I'd be like, I can't do it. I don't say that about anything.
Right.
I just felt like I couldn't do it. I felt like I wasn't built. I also want to get into a lot of controversies that a lot of people have to say about contrast therapy in general, but especially cold plunges.
There's a lot of that.
A ton of that. But there was something about it that made me just want to keep trying, even though I wasn't as into it. And the first time you even have a breakthrough of staying in for a minute, there's something that switches in your brain. I mean, there's science behind it, right? Where it's like, wow, you're mastering something and it becomes this, like, I get so high off being in a cold plunge. And I started, it was like 10 seconds, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, a minute and a half. It was such a slow build over 2 years. And the first time I ever stayed in for 6 minutes, I had, first of all, the biggest breakdown and then the biggest breakthrough on the flip side.
Amazing.
And it made me truly, like, the reason why I started moving towards doing more keynotes, doing more motivational speaking, was because I realized that I can do anything. Like, it's taught me so much more about myself and my strength than, listen, I love the benefits. I'm so into it. Like, right now I'm carrying so much tension in my shoulders. I wish we had already put in the cold plunge here.
In the cold plunge. I was ready for it. Well, I brought my Speedo and my booties and everything.
We're really trying to work it out to put a Sunhome Sauna cold plunge in the office, but we're having some difficulties. But
it's a little heavy.
No, I'm determined because I just need it. It's been a life enhancer.
Absolutely.
Why? Like, tell me, what is it? Like, what is it about cold therapy?
I mean, there's so much science behind it, but I think a great way to sum it up is the obstacle is the way. I don't know if you know Ryan Holiday from the Daily Stoic.
Of course.
Right? But usually, like, the hard thing, you're doing it for a reason and it has benefits. And so that alone, like, overcoming an obstacle like that just gives you such willpower, right? But there's a lot of brain chemicals that are being released after a cold plunge experience. You get a 300% increase in dopamine, which is the motivation molecule, which is why you're like, I can do anything now, right? That's, if you do cocaine, it's a 500% increase in dopamine. So now a lot of psychiatrists are prescribing cold plunges for ex-coke addicts because you get such a big spike in dopamine that's natural and lasts 3 hours and no crash.
It really does. Mine lasts for days.
Yeah, it can totally have that effect. When do you like doing it throughout the day? Like, are you a morning cold plunger? Is it whenever it's available? Do you like it, in the evening?
Well, right now, because I don't have one in the home, I do have one out east. I have my Sunhome Saunas cold plunge out east. I can't wait. I'm like, I feel like all summer I'm just gonna be like, come over and let's do the cold plunge. I prefer to do it in the morning because I find it gives this massive boost of energy. And you are just so ready to take on the day. And I've also, before getting in it, all of that internal, like that negative self-talk, or just, you start to go into that spiral. I will no longer even let the thoughts seep in of like, I hate this thing. Oh, I don't want to do it. I'm like, no. Like we are going to do this. We get to do this. This is it's also just incredible for repair. Like if your body's feeling really stressed out, it's great for your great for your joints. Like it brings me to this place where I do think it's really important to do things that challenge you and that you feel this, I don't want to say hate for, because like for me, I dislike high intensity training. I don't like it. My body has a visceral reaction to it. I don't believe it agrees with me. Like it's completely
like HIIT
misaligned.
Or like weight training or just really heavy intense stuff.
It doesn't work for me. Like it's just, it's misaligned and nothing feels right. I don't believe when something feels like that you should lean into it. This is just my own belief. And I think men and women are built so differently. I know a lot of men who stay in for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I think for a woman, it's different, right? Like I think for our hormonal health, which is where a lot of people, like every time I post about like how life-changing the cold plunges, people have a lot to say about this, which I'd love to talk to you about too. But I think it's important to move towards things that challenge you, but to also make sure it is like the right fit. It's the right fit. I've had people say like the cold plunge just doesn't work for me. I'm like, okay, like then don't get into a cold plunge.
But at least you've tried it, right?
Yeah.
And you can check that box knowing that it doesn't align with you or your soul or what have you, right?
Right.
But yeah, it's not meant for everybody. And 10 minutes is intense. I feel like 3 minutes, you get like the perfect amount to release as many benefits as possible. Now, when you go in, what's your style? Are you like a jump in? Do you slowly get into the cold plunge?
I do not test the water first. I think that's probably my number one point of advice for any beginners. Do not put your hand in. Don't put your toe in. As soon as it's go time, I go all the way in easily and I get all the way into the back, like up pretty much to like the middle of my head.
Smart, because most people do it like here or shoulder length,
it's harder.
You need to get almost touching your ears.
It's harder when you stay here.
Yeah. And you feel it kind of like the water just floating around, almost touching your ears, and you start going numb.
Yes. And then
I
like to drop in a little bit more. I like that you asked my style because I think a lot of people are trained to do certain breath works, and I think it works for some people. What has really worked for me is doing really long, slow, deep nasal breaths.
Oh, really?
In through the nose, out through the nose. That's the only way I do it. No, I don't even breathe out my mouth at all.
And do you count, or it's just full deep breaths in, full deep breaths out through your nose?
Full deep breaths in, full deep breaths out. And then I close my eyes and I go deep in. And I do this breath that I've learned from this breath coach that I worked with. He's incredible. He taught me that when you breathe in through your nose, envision it going straight back to your throat. And then as you exhale out through your nose, envision it going straight down to your ass.
Really?
Yeah. So I do that until I feel like, I think around like a minute and a half is when I try to like let my body relax more and almost smile a little bit. And now I can talk in it. Like I can do so many more things because I've mastered being afraid of it.
Do you feel like the first like 30 seconds is the most difficult and challenging?
So,
and then you kind of get used to it. You're like, I can almost stay in here a little bit longer, right?
30 seconds to a minute for me, I still go to the place of like, I want to I'm like, no.
The fight or flight is hitting real hard at that point.
Hard. But now I've learned to drop myself really deep into my parasympathetic with my breath.
Yeah, and if you put your face in the water, which I never wanted to
I do it
do.
at the end.
Yeah, if you jump in first, put your face in the water, it activates what's called the mammalian dive reflex. Huberman's gonna kill me if I don't say that right. But basically, what that does is it activates your parasympathetic activation. So you get calmer, you breathe easier. So now when I jump in, the first thing I do is get my face wet, which is the most uncomfortable. But then I feel myself calming like immediately after.
Oh, I'll try that.
Yeah,
I
it's
go
intense.
all the way under now when I'm
Really?
done. I know that's like the real boss move when you're
Yeah,
just like
the finishing move,
the
right?
finishing. Like, I mean, it's blown me away that I've stayed in for 10 minutes,
Wow.
which I don't think you have to. I'm not telling anyone to do that. This was my own. I just was feeling it,
Mm-hmm. You
and
gotta
I
listen
was
to your
feeling
soul, right?
really exactly. I was feeling really motivated, and I was talking to a group of people, and then I was like, let's stay in for one more minute. We can do what, and it's like I've become even more motivational
Mm-hmm.
in a cold plunge
For sure.
now.
Yeah. And I feel like afterwards, like I can imagine if we did a cold plunge and then did this episode right after, we'd be like on one, like firing.
Yes.
I used to be the guy that was a caffeine junkie where I need to have like 2 or 3 cups in the morning just
Same.
to like get my day going and feel great. But now that I have a cold plunge, I have maybe half a cup worth of caffeine in my pre-workout at noon, but that's it. I don't need caffeine in the morning. So it's like a natural stimulant, which has been such a huge asset for me because I love just feeling
High.
energetic.
I
Yeah,
do
high.
too.
Yeah, pretty much.
I like to feel like I love a kick.
Yeah.
That's why I love supplements. That's why I love, listen, that's why I like to drink. That's why I like to do a lot of other things for many years because I enjoyed that feeling. It's almost this escape from yourself. But as I just continue to dive deeper into this life and this world, you realize like you can literally get high off your life, and it's not this like pick you up and drop you. It's like
Hmm.
it keeps you in this elevated state, and it's from just using the right enhancements that are good for you and good for your brain health.
And like you said, the right modalities. And all it's doing is it's enabling the release of certain chemicals that also get triggered when you're drinking. When you drink, it's serotonin that gets released, right? But then the next day you have cortisol spike. You don't sleep
And
well.
it depletes.
It depletes. You're fighting to get that back. You have a negative experience, right? Like drinking. I'm sure you've heard this. Like having drinks today is borrowing happiness from tomorrow, right?
Ooh.
That's really what it is. I used to love feeling, 3 margaritas in with my friends and, just feeling really vibey. But then the next day, I'm just like, it sucks the soul out of you, right? But when you cold plunge or when you sauna, right? Like to your point, you get elevated and you feel it and there's no crash or no resetting to your baseline to get back up to where you want to be.
That is why I stopped drinking. Do you drink?
I still do.
Okay, that's fine.
But, like yesterday, my dad flew in from Portugal. I had 2 skinny margaritas with him and then as a celebratory thing. But I don't do the out till 2 a.m. or see the sunrise that I did 5-10 years ago.
Right.
I try to do it much in moderation, not during the week. But I see myself getting to a step where I just don't, every day or every time I drink, I see less and less. It's not serving me like it used to, basically.
Right. You're not drinking to get shit-faced.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And I like remembering my evenings. I
Yes.
like being able to connect and bond with people and recall conversations and sound somewhat coherent when I'm speaking. And I feel like when you're intoxicated under alcohol, you think that you're sounding good and
I
you
know.
think that you're the life of the party, right? But then if you ever hear yourself like in a video recording or a story, you're like, this is like traumatic. Like I'm a different person,
Right.
And so I think yeah, being sober, connecting with my inner self, and I have way better relationships with people when I'm not under the influence of things.
I know. I mean, same. And I also think it's so important to like, I think it's okay. I'm not saying that people shouldn't drink or can't drink. I think just this massive movement around being more mindful with what you're consuming. And by the way, that's including all things in life.
Mm-hmm.
That's food, humans, technology, just like people are waking up. Right? You feel this?
100%. Well, I think there's this surgence in the way people are social and connect with each other. It no longer, for the younger generation at least, revolves around let's go meet up at a bar and get shit faced and then have a good night. we're seeing a lot of these like social wellness clubs pop up. On the way over here in my Uber, I saw Remedy's about to open up.
I'm obsessed with this. Like, I'm so happy. This is all I want to do with my friends.
Seriously.
When people are like, let's do dinner, I'm like, let's go to a bathhouse.
Yeah, let's get 8 of us in a cold plunge and go through this together.
I'm telling you, it is the way to do, like, why not reap the benefits of taking care of yourself with your friends, with people you love, talking about where you're at in life, what is everyone working on? Are you happy? Like, I had these incredible conversations with my friends.
So much more meaningful in those environments, right?
So meaningful. Instead of, I mean, listen, great, I love a dinner. I love going out too, love. But I just think it's such a beautiful addition to waking us all up that everything doesn't have to revolve around a drink in your hand.
Mm-hmm.
It's to have fun.
Yeah. And I think it takes people to just experience that once to see, because it's, for someone like myself, like, went to school in Santa Barbara, like it was very drinking culture and party oriented, where if it's a Friday or a Saturday night, I felt weird if I was in a group setting and not drinking, right?
Right.
And it only took me to a few years ago to be like, let's go to, a social wellness club or the sauna together. And when you experience it the first time, you realize how fun it is. And it kind of takes the edge off. And you're like, I don't need alcohol for this. I'll sip on, just a seltzer or whatever, or a juice and hang out with you guys and get my sauna on. And I have just as much fun.
It's so fun. Okay, you are the co-founder of Sunhome Saunas and the chief growth officer as well, correct?
You got it. Yeah, nailed it.
Make sure I nailed it. I'd love to know, because like I said, you're just like, you're super fit. You seem really just like your vibrations are amazing. What got you into this way of life?
I've always been just a health nut. Like, I started lifting weights when I was 16. My whole family was into sports, and my grandpa was Mr. London, bodybuilder, huge bodybuilder that got me into weightlifting. So
wow.
As soon as I could, I started getting into that. And my gym had a sauna, and I was just obsessed with it throughout high school. And when I got a job in Santa Barbara, I met Adam, my co-founder. I was in software sales, so I was selling influencer and affiliate marketing software. And then Adam was my cold caller, so he'd call into Gap or Adidas and set up meetings with me. And we ended up just bonding in the sauna together, right? We go work out together and then spend like a half an hour in the sauna, shooting the shit. And we formed this really incredible connection. And we were both really good at our jobs. And we've always wanted to take the entrepreneurial path, but able to integrate health and wellness into it. And so one summer we were like, hey, do you want to go on a Europe trip? We have unlimited PTO, so let's go for 3 weeks. And my friend lived in Sweden. So we went to Sweden and then stopped by Finland. And I noticed that we did Airbnbs and some homesteads, that every single property, every home had a sauna. And it is just as common to have a sauna in Finland as it is to have an oven or any other household appliance. And it's like this community building exercise where every family does it every night. They bring their friends over. And I thought that was so cool and something we don't do here. And then secondly, after some research, Finland has an insane amount of blue zones, right? So longevity genes, people are living a long time. And they're rated the happiest country in the world. And they have the highest number of saunas per capita than any other country.
I'm going.
So I was like, is that a coincidence? I mean, I don't think it is. And so we're like, what if we take our passion for sauna in health and wellness, and we bring this movement that has been so integrated in Europe for who knows how long to the US. And Americans, if we wanted to use saunas, you either had to go to a luxury hotel or a stinky gym.
Mm-hmm.
There wasn't an easy way to basically create a seamless experience for identifying, buying, shipping, delivering, and setting up a sauna in the average American's home, at least back then. And so our goal was how can we democratize this and spread the healing benefits of saunas to the masses in the US? And around that time, that's when Joe Rogan started socializing his love for saunas. And so we teamed up with him and his supplement company on it, and did our first ever sauna giveaway with him. And that blew us up, and I think really helped propel us to category leaders in the space. And then ever since then, we've just been at it and trying to scale it as much as possible, and then expand it into LED therapies and cold plunge and ice immersion systems. And it's just been a total amazing experience ever since.
That's such an incredible story.
It
And
was
you can feel
amazing.
your passion. Like, it's just like,
Same with you. I mean, like when you are in the business of helping people, right? And helping people optimize and maximize their body and their mind and just improving their lives. Like that's all the passion you need, right? Being able to sell really cool products is for me is the icing on the cake, right?
no, I know. And I always try my best to keep things accessible, more attainable. But I've just like gotten more comfortable being like, these are things that are investments. They're investments. It's an investment for you, for your family, and even, I mean, the beauty of the saunas, like if you don't have space for a sauna, you have your infrared sauna blankets. Like there is always a solution or something that you can do, even with the LED therapy, all the red light therapy, blue light therapy. There's tiny ones that are this big. I
Mm-hmm.
love that there's so many options. But without a doubt, I asked you this before we started, if you were a biohacker, because I'm like, well, you are a biohacker, right? It's the ultimate if this is the
Absolutely.
business you're in.
Yeah. Um, there are some certain, I guess it would be great to talk about kind of routines.
Yes, I want to talk about that.
That's a really fun topic because everybody has their different biohacks per
Yeah.
se and what works well for themselves. So, do you want to kick it off and tell me about some of the things that you like to do to help really improve your day to day?
Sure, I would love to. That's exactly what I was going to say, because for me, like I always love to like use what I have available to me so that when I'm traveling, I never feel like I need to like have all this stuff, right? So it's really goes down to the simplicity of like meditation and movement and using my own body weight for that. Like that truly is the core and the foundation of what changed my entire life, helped me to see my own strengths, and also to understand the simplicity of not needing anything but the mindset and the willingness to get myself there every single day. So it started there. That's truly how I built what I've built today. But then with just always looking to enhance and to constantly elevate just my state of being
Mm-hmm.
is, I mean, where I started juicing. I've been juicing for well over a decade.
Do you have
That's,
a signature juice?
I do.
I got to get the recipe
I
out.
can tell you now.
Okay, let's hear it.
It's my signature juice. We share all of our recipes in the nutrition section. I love that now I'm being interviewed, but I love this. I love a flip interview and then it.
We got to keep it a
No, we got to
conversation.
keep it going. My signature is cucumber, celery, lemon, and ginger. It's like my OG. It's so simple. And I've been drinking that for years.
It
But I
sounds so
also,
refreshing.
it's so refreshing.
Awakening.
It is awakening. And I feel like that's what it's done to my system. And then I take my, my symbiotic, my seed, my prebiotic, my probiotic. I'm really big on my supplement game. I do red light therapy every day. And I use my infrared sauna. I also have one here, but I use my Sunhome infrared sauna. I strive for 2 days a week. To be honest with you, I'm so much better when it's 3, 4, but listen, it's a lot. I like to get to bed at a certain time and then I find myself getting in too late.
Right.
And it does sometimes give me energy, but it's a big weekend thing for me. And I mean, I use my Apollo device, which is like a
What's
little
Apollo?
acupuncture stimulant, which acupuncture has changed my life and just helped me regulate my nervous system more. And it's just, it's like little vibrations on your acupuncture points to help reduce stress and focus. Like I've always, a definitely undiagnosed ADHD here, a lot of attention.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's also my magic, so I've learned to use it, but it's hard for me to focus on something really
For sure.
long and intently. So that has really helped. And I mean, I feel like the biggest amplifier to it all has been getting in the cold plunge.
That's right. Getting cold, getting right. As I always say.
Yes.
I feel like
Okay,
you have
tell me about your routine
all
because
the
I
really
feel
no.
like.
I mean, we have a lot of similarities. I don't have
How
the
do you wake
juicing
up in the
down.
morning though? Like, what's the first thing you
My
do?
puppy starts barking.
Okay.
That's what wakes me up.
But do you touch your phone?
I do not touch my phone, right? Because I feel like that's just, it's like, would you let a newsroom into your room? Would you let a bunch of strangers into your room right when you wake up? That's what it is.
Oh.
You get all the notifications on your phone. You see Morning Brew and Instagram, right? And you just start getting all these little voices in your head. And then you start like then your cortisol raises. Then you have the negative self-talk and it spirals from there, right? So the
That
first
is
thing,
so good.
it's so real. Now I know there's a lot of guys out there and women that do an hour no phone. I don't have the discipline yet. I don't.
That's long.
I mean, I'm running a business and I have to check my phone. But at least at first I will go in the shower. I'm not going to wake up and look at it and scroll. So I get ready. I get my electrolytes, my B vitamins, my salt. And I have like my little electrolyte mix.
What is it? What is it? Tell us. We need to know.
Well, it's a low calorie, zero sugar electrolyte mix, but you got to find the ones that have real salt in it, because if you're like peeing all night or you're dehydrated, it's not water you need, it's salt, right? It's minerals.
Right.
And so always have that integrated. So I take that, I take vitamin C, so I just blast my system with immunity, antioxidants, and then probiotics in an empty stomach.
Always.
And then I take, then I go to my red light panel. That's where I check my phone. So there's like a 20-minute delay, but red light acts like the sun and helps optimize your circadian rhythm. So it'll trigger to your body, all right, now it's time to be awake. Let's set that internal clock. So I have a lot of trouble falling asleep at night. I'm just like, my mind's racing.
Same.
And so I find that if I look at my red light panel or get morning sunlight, it really helps like my body know when it's time to go to bed. So that's when I check my phone. I do like 10, 15 minutes in the red light alone.
Before or after? Or during?
I check my phone during red light.
Okay, I feel like we need to meditate in the red light.
We do. I know. I'm
That's
working
what I
on
do.
it. Oh, really?
I meditate in front. I didn't like go into, I should have gone more into the depths with you, but I meditate in front of the red light for 20 minutes.
For 20 minutes?
For 20 minutes.
That takes
Are you meditating?
No, I try.
Okay.
And then in 30 seconds, it just shows how much I need it, right?
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So I need to work on that. I am starting breath work.
That's good.
So I'll go to the park right after red light with my dog, and at that early in the morning of the whole place to ourselves, the sun shining. I take my shoes off to get grounded. And then I do like the Wim Hof, like I think it's like 30 breaths in, then I hold my breath. And it's like 10 minutes total. But the crazy thing is how long I can hold my breath on the final round. It like blew my mind.
How long?
It was like 2 or 3 minutes.
Wow.
And do you ever feel like when you hold like after a few breaths, like my fingers started going like this and I feel my like tingling. Yeah. Do you know what that is? Is that like the alkalines or?
I don't know. I was going to ask you.
I'm new to the whole breath work thing,
right.
But I know it's really powerful for cold plunging, but yeah, you definitely feel alive after, but you get a really intense physical sensation.
Right. No, it's like your whole system stimulates.
Yeah.
I haven't held my breath that long, but working on like deepening nasal breathing for me has actually helped me to do things. I notice even when I do the Kundalini like Adi mantra to tune in before I do a meditation, it was hard for me to do the entire mantra, I don't know if you know it, but I would have to stop and take a breath and then keep going. And now I can do it. And I'm like, it's 100% from I mouth tape at night as well.
I was going to say, so I have a lot of friends that mouth tape at night. I'm not too familiar with the benefits of it, but people swear by it.
I cannot believe what it's done to me. And that was another I was just like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
You are taping your mouth? Like this is, I'm like, we've gone too deep. Here, truly, this is what I thought.
Yeah.
Fully, Jason Strauss again. Jason Strauss is like my biohacking like BFF,
Yeah.
who we're just like, we both love all things wellness. And he is the first to try and do and get into everything. And I'm always like, I don't know. And then I like try it and I'm blown away. So I did try it because of him. And from someone who has always run more on the anxious side, I've woken up for almost my entire life with a massive spike of anxiety. And now from taping my mouth, and I've been doing it for a while now. I feel like it's been at least 6 months. I wake up so neutral.
Really?
Yes. It's because I'm breathing so I mean, think about it. It's like your body's in rest and repair for 8 hours, 7, 8 hours a night. I'm just deepening my nasal breathing, which helps you just tap in. Like, I think before, even when I thought I was breathing, I was still breathing out of my chest.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't dropping in fully to my diaphragm and like breathing into even the sides
Mm-hmm.
of like my back body. And it's just increased VO2 max. Like, I am so much calmer. I mean, I still have, still a little spicy and can definitely peak with a little psychoness, but fire sign. It's completely regulated my system.
All right, I got to pick some up. My dad and I have to try it.
We have some here.
Okay, we got to do it tonight.
I have some Dream Recovery. I'll hook you up with that. It's great.
Perfect.
And it's a little intimidating at first. So what I recommend to people is put it on your mouth, like before you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know your wind down routine. I feel like we got to know your wind down routine.
Sure.
But like, I'm a big like dim all the lights, legs up the wall, 15 minutes. And then I like to read a book, phone. I like to say my phone is away, but then people have called me out because they're like, you share the clip-on stories. So I'm like, okay, I might like capture a picture and then I put my phone away. I'm no longer scrolling.
Do you have the red light technique with the app or with the phone?
No.
So apparently, the whole idea with blue light is that's what signals to your body you should be awake, right? And so that's why people can't fall asleep at night when looking at their phone, because it's a bunch of artificial blue light. Red light, like you mentioned, doesn't have those properties. And so you can stare at red light, whether it's fire, whether you have red lights like within your home or screens. And it's like a hack. I have blue light blocking glasses, which really help with that. But there's some settings I can show you later. But if you click 3 times.
Oh, wait, I have it, but it goes black and white. My therapist taught me that.
Black and white?
Yes. Wait, can I have my phone? I have to show you. Wait, do that and show the camera.
So you click 3 times and then it blocks all blue light.
Wait.
Then I have my blue light blocking glasses.
Thanks, Tom.
That's another layer.
Wait, watch mine. My kiddos.
Nice. Oh, there you go.
So my therapist taught me this because obviously colors are very stimulating to the eye.
Exactly.
And you get addicted to color. If I find, are you a big scroller on social media?
I can be, yeah.
Love the honesty.
It has to happen sometimes.
100%. We go through, for me, I go through wavelengths where like, I'm just like, don't. And then you go a little bit into a hole. I always find the holes are when I'm avoiding something within myself or that I have to do or that I am feeling like I want to move towards. And it's just like,
just something to keep your mind busy and hide behind it. And then 20 minutes goes by and
you're drained.
What did I just get from that? Yeah. And you're mentally, physically drained after you just stare at it.
So now when I am in that state, I go black and white. And then I swear, like, look, do you want to do anything on that? No. You just go like this. It's
bland, right? You're like,
and you just put it away.
Yeah. It's not vibrant enough.
Right.
Yeah.
I have to try the red light.
Yeah, no, that helps a lot. And then I'm a big supplement person like you are. And like getting high quality sleep is like my number one goal in the world. Like if I get 7 hours versus 8 hours, it is noticeable. I am irritable. I'm not as productive. I don't perform as well. I'm just not a happy person. And I feel slower. Like if you get less than 6 hours of sleep, you are 30% cognitively more impaired. So you're dumber if you don't get enough sleep. So this whole like hustle mentality and grind culture, it's having the opposite effect by getting no sleep. You're going to get more done in shorter periods of time if you get better sleep. And so it's vital. So a lot of my routines, my modalities, especially at nighttime, are focused around how can I increase my sleep. And I just got an Oura Ring to help track it all, make it easier. You got one too? Nice. I haven't worn it during the day yet, funny enough, because if I'm like, I don't want to mess it up. And if I'm weightlifting, it's bulky, but I use it for sleep tracking. And so turning off blue light is massive. We talked about that. Supplementation, I find, is really big for me as well. There's a few like hacks that I take basically the sleep stack that I put together
What is it?
dramatically helps. So magnesium glycinate. I'm sure you take magnesium.
100%.
Yeah,
Yeah.
multiple
Glycinate.
benefits. Yeah, glycinate.
Yeah.
Chelated if possible, it's a little stronger. And if you pair that with vitamin D, vitamin D3, it increases your deep sleep and your REM. And it's noticeable. I can track it on my Aura Ring.
I need to deepen my REM. That's one thing that my light sleep is like, I can sleep, but I also have, I was thinking when you just said that about sleep, like I was just like, my soul went to like the mama bears and like all the postpartum moms. And it's so hard. It's really hard.
I can't imagine.
It honestly, it makes me want to cry for them because I'm just like, and like I had help, and most people don't. And it just like, it's so hard. It's really the hardest time in mothers' lives. Like it's just because you're so sleep deprived. So
you can see it on like mothers' faces when they first have children.
With that one. People are going to come after you with that.
That's not what I meant. All right, we'll scrap that one.
No, it's just kidding. I'm like, they're going to be like, what?
Men but too. Like my friends of their kids, like they're just
it's not just
trained.
women, right? But I mean,
for sure,
after giving birth and going through that process. So just like big shout out to all the moms out there. I see you, I am you, I've been there, and it does get better. And even now, like my kids still come into my bed, it's like I wake up at least a couple times a night because of my kids. So it's something that I really, really focus on, but it's, when you're a parent, it's not perfect.
It comes with the territory.
It comes with the territory, but just, I think like trying to get to bed earlier every night it does make a difference.
It gives you more leeway too, because if you do have to wake up in the middle of the night, you have some more hours to get in, like almost as a buffer, right?
Yeah.
And I think L-theanine is a big one.
Huge. You take it at night?
I take it with my caffeine. I'll have like half a cup of coffee or with my pre-workout, and that helps like remove all the jitteries from it.
Keeps me here.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love that, and it's great at night too to relax you. And those are really like my major ones. So if magnesium, L-theanine, vitamin D3, then you're sleeping like a baby.
Okay, I'm going to try the vitamin D3 tonight with my magnesium.
If you really have trouble falling asleep, have you heard of apigenin?
No.
So chamomile, in like sleepy time teas, right?
Yeah.
Apigenin is concentrated chamomile. So don't go drive in or like try to walk around if you're in. If you take that, make sure you're in bed, and it's like a natural, basically sedative, and so you pass out like right away.
Oh wow, okay.
So like time changes, right? If you're going to another time zone, like Europe, I always get anxiety in Europe because it's like 10 p.m. there and like 2 p.m. here. So I take that. Then you don't have to use like ZQL or anything. It's just like a natural way.
Okay, I have to try that. Yeah, I'll definitely try it.
It's a game changer.
I love experimenting with things. I'm constantly like, what? I mean, of course, I don't over take supplements because I at one point was, and I didn't feel good. I was taking things that were not agreeing with me. So I do think it's really important.
Yeah.
Get your levels checked, see what you're deficient in, because it does really make a difference. And most people are vitamin D3, B12, even magnesium deficient. Like I ran so anxious, and taking magnesium consistently has helped so much.
And that helps a ton.
It helps a ton. And L-theanine, ashwagandha.
Yeah, love ashwagandha. I feel like they need to make it more accessible and easier for everyone to get their blood work to test what you're deficient in. Because I think a lot of people take a bunch of supplements because of what they see on the internet or a multivitamin, or, they may not need certain things, and there could just be a few areas they're deficient in. And all it takes is to increase those certain raw materials in your body, and you can feel 100% again. But there's no way to tell unless if you actually get your blood work done. It's just a guessing game.
I think it's really important to emphasize that, because